Hi. Uh, I work on linguistic experiments. I like to do things in psycholinguistics, and also I dabble in generative linguistics, linguistics in general, and also natural language processing. And I actually try to reconcile and see some kind of. I try to use all methods. But one of the things that I've been really working on personally is I've noticed that um, I've been searching for a really good online uh, tool to conduct what we call linguists call a self-paced reading task. There are some various programs, but I really want something easy, something simple, and actually, it really is actually quite simple. Just to show you how simple it is, I've written this program. The user only really needs to enter in these things. That's it. They don't have to enter in anything else. So when I say the user, I'm talking about the experimenter, the investigator, or the linguist. The linguist just has to enter in their sentences, and they're going to enter it in these little quotation marks and that. And then they're going to put these questions, because you may want questions after each sentence that a subject reads. Now notice here that there's nothing there, because maybe I don't want to ask a question after every sentence. That can be annoying, I assume, for the person who's doing the experiment on the other end. And so maybe I only want to do one or two, sentences out of a whole block of stimuli. And of course, I got to put the answers either yes or no, and you really want those to match in the same kind of order the questions are. Same thing with the questions have to match the same order that the sentences are. The program will do the rest. The program will actually build everything else from there. And then in the end, what we want is we want a beautiful spreadsheet like this. This is in the end. So I'll get something where it shows me the time that the data was sent to the spreadsheet, and that tells me that this person is different from another person over here. So we got two different subjects because of this identifier. I don't take names because whenever you do any kind of experiments, you want to protect the person's identity, and you don't want any personal information if you can help it, because you really want to look out for the participants, whoever's like doing your experiment. So I just assign these little kind of like these number kind of identifiers here, so we don't know, we can't point it specifically to a person. So if they were concerned about this information being pinpointed to them, well, it can't be. But we do, so this is the stimuli right here they're presented with. These are the reaction times. And then for the yes no questions, either they get a pass or a fail, or sometimes even when there's no question, you'll say no question. And then I want to know their L1, that's their native or first language. I'm going to just collapse it. Sometimes linguists will differentiate between L1 and a native language, but for the purposes of showing this, we're just going to collapse it and just say L1. And then we got L2, that's our second language. And then, I got a question, how many years? I just put in 7. I can't remember how many years I've been speaking it. So, and I'm not that great at it, so. Now I do ask about state and country. Now I know I said that I don't want any personal information. Again, you can't. It's really hard to pinpoint somebody in the state of Texas. So I think they're pretty safe, especially with the population being pretty big. Now, if it was the state only had maybe 3 people, okay, we can maybe pinpoint. But I don't think we're gonna have that problem, honestly. But why do we need state and country? Why would a linguist want to know that? Well, because the way that a Texan might talk can differ from the way the dialect of a New Yorker, or definitely a person from Boston. I guess a Bostonian. The way they speak definitely can differ. Their dialect can differ. So there might be some differences, and we might want to account for those differences. Why they might read something a little differently from, say, a Texan. And why I say they might read it differently is because they might actually look at a phrase being awkward to them because that's maybe not really as acceptable in their dialect as, say, to a Texan. So we want to account for those differences, so that's why I include that there. Now, a person, an investigator or a linguist using this, they can add whatever they want, but I just wanted to program, I tried to think of the basic stuff that a linguist might want to think about. So let's go ahead and try this out. I put it up here. I got a little projects page. I got all sorts of little things. We're not going to pay attention to these recent versions, these earlier versions, because those don't really send data over the web. But I built this one. It's called v10.2. That one, it definitely sends the data over the web, and that's nice because, and especially during a pandemic, but even before then, I wanted to find a way. How could I capture the most participants and in the most efficient manner? Now, is this really good for accuracy of the data? Yeah, you are sacrificing a few things. But if you're looking to get a lot of participants, this is a really great way. Use the web, use technology. But again, there are some caveats here. You're going to have to accept that there's going to be some confounds going on. Hopefully latency shouldn't be an issue here. I tried to program it where we shouldn't have a problem with latency. But again, there's always room for error, and so we got to always be careful about that. But I tried to come up with something that would work for a linguist. And during this pandemic, this is really nice because with this, they don't have to actually see the person face to face. In fact, the participant can just jump on their computer, go to that website, and then they can do it. So we're going to try it. Now, these sentences that I have in here, you have to understand that these sentences are just, there's nothing really behind these. I just randomly chose sentences, but just to show for, so you can see what this is all about. So the participant would read this, okay, and it says, hey, don't have distractions, don't have movies, and don't have your boss yelling at you while you're doing this. That might not really help ensure that data is good. Okay, so I'm going to press next, and I'm going to have my finger on the space bar. Okay, and as I read each word, I press the space bar. Now these are randomized. Some of them have questions, some of them don't. Yeah, there we go. Just to be wrong, I'm going to say yes. Okay, and then take a little break because we don't want to wear our participants out. Okay, and then we press next after I'm ready. And, there we go. Okay, take a little break. Again, I programmed this and I did this in JavaScript. And I actually said Friday night, so no. But you know what? Let's do the wrong answer. There we go. Yeah. Okay, and then again, I'm going to have those little questions here. So I already did this before, so it's automatically entering. What's my second language? Let's put a different number. Let's put 8. Okay. Okay, and then once I'm ready to send the data, yay! All right, it sent the data. So let's go ahead and see if it actually went there. Voila! And let's see, just to ensure, let's see, that was at 1429. 1429. That's good. And so, make sure. Yep, 8. Yeah, here we go. So, I will put this on GitHub, and in linguists they can modify this, do whatever they want with it. But again, I built this for linguists because this is something I've wanted personally. I didn't want something complicated. If you used other programs like DMDX, for somebody who's coming from a background, without any programming, DMDX is probably not as friendly. Plus, a lot of it is proprietary when it comes to the inner workings. This that I created is all in JavaScript. JavaScript is not proprietary; it's all open. So my code should be. I tried to make it where they don't have to worry about the code; they just got to worry about this. But if they want to go and modify things, that's perfectly fine. That's okay. And so this is really all they really have to modify is just this. This is it. There's one more thing they do have to modify. They got to put the API on one of the other pages. That's called Run Experiment, which is really easy. It's just an API, copy and paste it into there, and then it'll link up to that spreadsheet on Google Sheets. And yeah, then linguists can collect data from across the world. They can modify the survey. They probably would want to, depending on their needs. But as you can see, like the errors say, so whatever question I answered incorrectly, it'll say fail. If there was no question, it'll say no question. And it even shows I put the stimuli here so you can see the stimuli, the reaction times. These reaction times, don't take these seriously, because as I was just kind of going through them, just pressing the button, I was not really actually doing this thing. But for a participant who's actually reading these, and that we might see some little difference in those reaction times, maybe. But anyways, I wanted to kind of show that off. Hopefully, once I put it on GitHub, people will enjoy it. This is on right here. This is what I had written. This is on so it links up to the page and does everything. So hopefully everybody will like it. I don't know for the linguist, but anyways, I hope you enjoyed seeing that. And if you did, cool. I'm happy to make other people happy. So check it out.